This is my first post. Sorry if it's a bit wordy. I grew up on a council estate in a nice area of my city. Apart from the odd street brawl or addict passing out and setting their flat on fire, which was way more common than you'd expect, most people living there were nice enough and it was a nice place to grow up. I shared a room with my 3 siblings and I was on one of the top bunks, so I slept with my face about 1 meter away from the ceiling, which was the living room floor of our upstairs neighbor. An old lady had lived up there for years until she passed away when I was about 10. It stayed empty for a couple of years until a single, pregnant 19-year-old moved in. My mum befriended her right away and she'd come down for a coffee and talk about future plans for her and her baby. Her ex was a drug dealer, and though I didn't know at the time, was responsible for a dead body that had been found on a nearby bridle path after a disagreement over drugs. My mum was pretty strict, and even at 13, my bedtime was 8 p.m. I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, listening to her footsteps on her floor. The footsteps were soon added to with a crying newborn. That was when I started to hear a man's voice. Before long they were arguing nightly and my mum found out it was her ex. And that he had another girlfriend somewhere else with another newborn baby. This meant he'd be gone all day and just come home at night to wreak havoc, so we never actually saw him. He was also wanted by the police, for all the obvious reasons and more, so kept a low profile. Until one evening. Our whole family also lived on this estate, and it wasn't uncommon for my mum to nip out to one of their flats while I looked after my younger siblings. I'm 5'1" and by far the smallest of us all, but still the most responsible, apart from my questionable actions in this story. My mum was out and the upstairs neighbor ended up at the door, banging and screaming for help. I didn't think about how I was putting my siblings in danger. I just knew that someone needed help, and that's all that was going through my head. I opened the door and she ran in, locking it behind her and screaming, "He's got a hammer, he's going to kill me." I didn't know what to do, and I probably looked like a deer in the headlights when I just answered, "My mum's not here." Suddenly he was at the door, banging and shouting that he was going to kill her. We looked through the peephole and could see that he was holding the baby in one hand and a hammer in the other. She was understandably a complete mess, so I'm pretty sure she didn't think it through when she asked me to, please get the baby. I can't remember what was going through my head, but I was wearing my school uniform, and at 14 I could still easily pass for 10, so I feel like maybe I had assumed that he wouldn't hurt a kid. I agreed, and within seconds I was pushed out with the door being slammed and locked behind me. He was at least 6'5", and I don't know how to describe it, but his face looked too muscular. He looked down at me and eyes wide with horror I asked, "Can I have the baby please?" Then I looked at the hammer and back at him. He looked at the hammer and then at the baby, then back to the hammer, and I was pretty sure he was choosing the hammer. Before I knew it, he was basically throwing the kid at me as he ran off shouting, "Take the F asterisk 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 G baby." I can't remember what happened straight after that, and my mum never told me what the aftermath was. It's weird, but we never spoke about it again. Not even to this day. Knowing my mum, she'd have been heartbroken that I was alone, so wouldn't want her to think it was still on my mind. I didn't see him again either, but the arguing continued. Eventually the police caught up with him, and after entering the flat he jumped out of the third-floor kitchen window. Our bathroom window below was open and he hit it on his way down, which slowed him down enough to be caught and arrested. So to the drug-dealing murderer with the hammer, let's not meet again.